Are Indian motorcycles challenging to be the top American motorcycle manufacturer? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, Indian motorcycles, are they in a position, a prime position, to take over the top spot? There's only two spots available, let's face it, to be the top spot in the American motorcycle manufacturing race. Let's look at this a little bit closer. Indian don't have the market share. They certainly don't have the dealership network. And they've had their issues as well. And pound for pound, you kind of say, well, some people like Indians a lot more. Some people say there's a lot more value in there. But let's not kid ourselves. They're just as expensive as the Harley Davidsons. And also, in many cases, they have as many issues as the Harley Davidsons as well. But you could argue that whilst you're paying the kind of same prices, in some cases even more, you're probably getting a better tech. You're getting better tech on the Indians. And that's not right across the board. But certainly when you go up to the big baggers or the big tourers, their engine seems to be, a decent engine for that style of motorcycle. But it's kind of, there's lots of similarities there. Whilst they got liquid cooled, Harley Davidson now bringing out liquid cooled heads as well. So it's not as if they're miles ahead. A few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, you could say, actually, no, there's quite a big difference there. Whereas now, no. Harley Davidson coming out with the bigger size engines, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's a big gulf in power or in overall performance. So they're kind of neck and neck in the sort of the big tourers or the baggers, I would say. There's a lot of similarities. In fact, Indian have always been accused of copying Harley Davidson and vice versa as well. Where I see that Indian are kind of pushing ahead, and I've been saying this for the last couple of years, and I've certainly been seeing it as well, is in the smaller bikes. The Scout, the Sport Chief, these kinds of bikes that they've released, and the different variants and the colour schemes. This is where they kind of been really hammering on the door of Harley Davidson. But the biggest bike for me, and I've said this in the past, has been the FTR. The FTR is a really good bike. It's a really good bike if you want kind of street performance riding. By any standard, by any metric, not necessarily just Harley Davidson against Indian, but actually Indian against any other manufacturer as well. These are really good bikes. So then you look at, well, what have Harley Davidson done to kind of respond? Well, they brought out the Revolution Max engine bikes, right? Okay, great. But for me, I think there's a bit of a failing from Harley Davidson there in developing the Revolution Max bikes. They seem to have not really been able to hit the ground running and certainly not match up to anything like the FTR. Now, granted, we don't know what else Harley Davidson are going to bring out. And you could argue that Indian don't have the Pan America, let's say, and now Harley Davidson have brought the CVO Pan America. Maybe there's a bit more of a clamour to go that way as well. Now, not that the Pan America and the FTR are like-for-like bikes, of course, but I'm just talking about overall value and technology. But the question here is, do Indian, as an overall package, as an overall selection of bikes, do they offer the American buying public, especially, do they offer them much more selection? Do they offer them much more value in selection? Now, if you're a Harley Davidson fan, you would say, well, no, of course they don't, because Harley Davidson do a lot more bikes. And this kind of follows on from my last video, as kind of with the disappearance, for now, let's say, of the ST models in the touring range from Harley Davidson, are they narrowing the availability of their bikes, and are they kind of making themselves more in line of what Indian are doing? But maybe they're not doing it as well. Now, Indian last year, they bought out their track bike, their Challenger RR, and it was up for sale. So I made a video a few weeks ago, and I said, well, actually, Harley Davidson, they're bringing out a track bike. Well, that turned out to be the CVO Road Glide ST, a road-going version of a track-inspired bike, let's say. So they're doing the similar kinds of things. Now, of course, people watching this video might say, oh, no, you're definitely wrong. Indian are never going to be top spot. Others might say, well, hold on a minute. Indian are coming on strong. But they kind of faltered for the last couple of years, I think they faltered in gaining ground. There was about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, they were gaining a lot of ground on Harley Davidson. Then they seem to be hit like every other manufacturer with, COVID and supply chain issues and issues within their own manufacturing process and recalls and things like that. They were hit just like anybody else, but they just seem to have lost a bit of ground here. I don't think they're going to be the number one American motorcycle manufacturer for many years to come, and in fact I can't really see it. The only way I can see that if something seriously happens to Harley Davidson, whether they suddenly lose all their sales, whether people go walking off. And there's always this risk. There's always a risk that this will happen, especially where you're aiming bikes at the upper market of those that can afford it a lot more. And this is kind of what happened. We know that. And there's lots of videos out there, I'm sure, already talking about the CVOs, talking about the Street Glide, Road Glide, and talking about the CVO Road Glide ST and how great they are and everything like that. Great. This is content. This is videos. This is where, video YouTubers are going off and being hosted by Harley Davidson to say the right things, right? And I've made videos about this in the past and my thoughts on that. So this video is not about that. But all I'm saying is there's lots of new content right now. Indian haven't really bought out for 2024 a brand new motorcycle. They've kind of rehashed a couple of bikes, they've brought out a couple of variants, and their product lineup is still quite strong, I think, but they haven't really come after Harley Davidson. Last year I don't think they did, and also this year. This is where I think they've fallen back a little bit. I still think their bikes are good, and I still think they offer a lot of value, and I still think they appeal to a lot of people, certainly the anti-Harley Davidson people who just want something different, let's say. Not necessarily anti, but they just want something different. But Indian are coming on strong. But I also feel that Harley Davidson are being hit by Triumph and BMW, especially in that kind of touring bike world, especially from BMW with the R18s. And also, of course, with their RTs and their GTLs. So there is a lot of pressure on Harley Davidson just to keep on delivering. The question is, are they delivering? And also, people are going to continue to buy at those high prices. I don't think Harley Davidson is going to disappear overnight, but obviously you've got to look at trends. You've got to think, well, the only way that other manufacturers can overtake the market share, you would imagine, is if something seriously happens to Harley Davidson, the big player. Now, of course, these things happen, but I really can't see it. So can Indian be the top dog, let's say, in the American motorcycle world? I don't think so. But I certainly think that they can be a very strong second. They can be a very strong second and just waiting for the top dog, as it were, to start choking. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What about Indian? Have they kind of lost their way a little bit, and should they do more to regain ground? What about Harley Davidson? What about the bikes that they've brought out now, or the bikes that they've got rid of? What do you feel about them as a company, and also the products all the bikes that they're selling? I still think they're hanging in there, but I don't think there's been nothing fantastic coming out of Harley Davidson, I don't think. Yet we still might see more coming from this year, and the same for Indian as well. We might see some new bikes as well. We just don't know at this stage. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.